Hi friends, today is the end of October. I wanted to just do a small snippet into our lives.
Welcome to Ridgehaven Homestead. From the mountains of Upper East Tennessee, we share snippets of our off-grid life, cabin build, and garden blessings. Pour yourself a cup of tea, sit back, and take a peek into our off-grid home and family.
I am trying to count my blessings and take a walk in the morning, and so I thought I would bring you along. It's not going to be anything complicated. I do have several videos in the works, but I don't have time to edit them today, so I'm just going to bring you along for a minute. So I'm passing the solar panels in the greenhouse, and so far 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I should have more, but 5 kitties that I see so far immediately. We're running up the hill to check on if I need to run the solar well pump. And so I wanted to do that before the day got too sunny. As you can see, we have a little bit of color behind us on the hills. We live in the hills of Upper East Tennessee, and while we don't have the most awesome mountain view, we do see snippets of the mountains. I wish you could see the kitties behind me. They're going crazy. There's Zoomer. Zoomer's the black one. Sometimes he's Tubby, and sometimes he's Zoomer. And today he's zooming, so he's Zoomer. So I think that could be 5, it could be 6 cats. I don't know. I'm passing by our garden area that we had on these terraces. If you remember, back in the spring and summer, I brought you up here several times, and like last year I had a field of sunflowers up here. This year just a few, but I had this trellis which is like whoop, swooping down because I was growing green beans on it, and at the end of the season they just bowed down with the weight of it. But that actually made it easier to pick. I loved having them overhead to pick, and that was such a blessing. I see one little bitty eggplant over here, which I missed. It's about the size of a small egg. So I had a few eggplants. My garden is getting crazy, wild and woolly. But let's go ahead and pick this one. One little blessing. I love this. I think this is the cardinal flower. It's a type of lobelia, and it's a wildflower, but I think a couple of years ago sprinkled a wildflower seed mix in here, and now I'm getting lobelia and other surprises. So that's pretty cool. I did grow about 8 eggplant plants up here, and I only got just like the smallest bare minimum of eggplants off of these. So small, and I just have to be thankful for what we got because I'm dropping them. Just little bitty eggplants this time, but it's better than nothing, and the bears and the deer didn't eat them like they've eaten a lot of our stuff, so we can be thankful for that too. Yeah, I'm snagged on a blackberry vine. Let me show you the flowers up here. My green beans are pretty well done. I have the vines all on this fence behind me, and I picked my last ones at the beginning of this week, just enough for eating fresh, and they were delicious. Actually, I still have a few on my counter, which I just grab 1 or 2. Like here's one that I can still grab that I missed somehow. So I wasn't planning to harvest anything today. So that means I have my hands full. Okay, these are my flowers that remain from my garden. The zinnias that volunteered, the Chinese wallflowers are kind of pretty. Down here, these pink ones that you probably can't see too well. But I love the zinnias, and the marigolds have gotten as big as the zinnias up here. That's crazy. And not much remains. I have a stalk of an old sunflower that kind of turned into a tree, but it was beautiful. What about this beautiful zinnia right here? Can you see it? It has some red tips on the orange leaves. That's probably my favorite color on the zinnias, the orange and red mixed. I'm just thankful today. I have a few remaining zinnias, a few remaining this and that, and it's just the season is winding down, but I can be thankful for what we did have, and I am thankful, and I'm trying to cultivate the thankful spirit. Look at all those pretty flowers. I love the colors. And somehow, I do not know how this happened, but somehow Down here, there's a holy basil. Yes, it's a holy basil. I just gave it a sniff to be sure I wasn't lying to you. I didn't plant it up here, and I've never had holy basil planted up here. But somehow it's growing. So that's kind of a blessing of... I had to drop my green bean. It's a blessing of growing where you're planted. And we have beautiful blue skies today. They're clear. Wonderful day for pumping water and for charging our solar panels. And I am still on my way up to the water tank. You want to know something neat? The morning glories, which is so strange. How really bizarre. Usually morning glories are huge. But right up here, in this garden, they are the tiniest white morning glories. I don't know how that happened. They're morning glory vines. I don't know if they self-seeded, but they're only as big, not even as big as a thimble, and they are white, and I've never seen them before. So that's kind of neat. We can count that as a blessing. And if I want to count blessings, look at all of those brown seeds for morning glories. I won't say that I want to plant morning glories, honestly. Here's a normal one, a pink one. It's kind of small for a morning glory, but that's okay. Just neat to see all the things that God has made. These marigolds here are pretty big. They're kind of going out, and I did plant a certain morning glory and I forgot all about it. And so one has grown, one flower of my whole seed packet. And let me show you what it looks like. My goodness. And I'll have to see if I can save the seeds from this one. It's a double one and it's ruffled. Can you see that? It's really pretty. I got these from Baker Creek and I planted them, and apparently a couple more have grown. Here's another green bean. Apparently a couple more have grown but shriveled up, and so they do not last long at all. And so I'm glad that they grew. I'm kind of bummed that I missed them. I'm glad that I got to see that one. And so that we'll count that as a blessing too. And since I'm not up here very much, I completely missed the show. Yeah, I was super excited to learn about those morning glories that were double. They just looked really pretty. You know, morning glories are not that uncommon a flower, but those were uncommon. Okay, you're getting a little bit of color behind me. Tall, tall trees and all the waters in the sea. Okie doke, speaking of water, we're almost up to the water towers, and we are getting a little bit of color on this maple tree behind me. So we're getting a little bit of color there. To be honest, we haven't had a lot of color until very recently. Not much color at all, but I was in town in Rogersville yesterday and the prettiest maple trees were there. Just gorgeous. And I see a tree that I'm gonna have to check out on my way down. Let me check the tank real quick. Oh, I see another one. Okay, we're gonna circle back and check on those things. And I definitely need to turn on the water pump. Okay, because my water, I don't know if you can see the level, it's down here. Right there. And this is another reason why we're filtering the water that comes into our house. We'll talk about that later in a video, filtering video. Okay, let me do a panorama and if you look way down there, our cabin is way down there, down the hill. So the sassafras turns a nice shade. And here we have Little Bit, and we have Big Mama, and we have Booger, and Stinker, and I do not know where the other cats are, but let me show you this. A few of these trees down here. We have I don't know what kind of maple this is, but that is so yellow. Greg would know. That's pretty. I love that one. But what about this one back here? What in the world is this? Here's Tubby. He's on the trail of something. This is where I like to come on Sabbath and sit on this log over here. I don't want to forget about the beauty of the nasturtiums. They kind of get hidden all summer while the other flowers are doing their thing. And then in the fall, they just really pop because all of the other flowers are pretty well done. But then the nasturtiums, they just look like they are still going strong. Look at this one, looks like an orchid. And the blessing of the nasturtiums for me is that I planted them many years ago and I've never planted them since. I just get a different show every year. The colors kind of change as the seeds change and I just love it. And they'll go until fall and the first frost will take them away. So I'm enjoying them while we can, especially this interesting one. Well guys, that's all. I told you it was going to be simple and quick, and some of the best things are simple and we just have to open our eyes to see them. So I hope that you will open your eyes today to see something that God has put in your path that you can be thankful for. Even if it's something so small as little bitty garden harvests. And I am definitely turning on this water pump. We don't like to run out of water.